Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're continuing our listen through track by track to Conqueror, the new album by BAND-MAID. And whenever I hold anything up to the camera, it never autofocuses. That's absolutely... Oh, there we go. And now I'm going to take it down and I'm going to be blurry. Yes, I'm still amazed by the basics of cameras that I think everyone else knows. Anyway, so we're moving on to track number 13, and this is the next one, obviously, in our track-by-track listen through to the album. And of course, if you're not, I always say this, follow it using the link in the description below to watch all of these videos as a playlist. After this, the last two tracks are two that we already reviewed, so in the playlist you'll see my previous reviews of them, and then after that we'll move on to my final conclusion, my final overall album review for how everything works as a total after those. So this is actually the last one that I'm going to be hearing, not in the order of the playlist, but in chronological order. This is the last song from the album that I'm hearing, and it is it's written in katakana, pronounced I believe as Catharsis. Usually katakana is used to denote that it's a non-Japanese word, but that's not an English word that I know of, unless I'm misreading it somehow. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to hearing this thing. So basically, we know the album goes out on a bit of a loud and heavy bang already. That we've already established because we heard the last two tracks when they came out as singles. The album thus far has had some really playful bits. I love the fact it's had mid-tempo. I love the fact they've played with more poppy styles of production. They've had the heavier moments, the lighter moments. It's not really genre blurred as much as I perhaps expected them to do. I mean, they are such fantastic musicians and yeah, becoming fantastic songwriters in their own right. They were all really, really good from the get-go, but they're getting better and better with time. In a way, I was kind of hoping that it would expand into more different genre blurring sort of techniques, but they've just started stepping outside of their previous area, and I think with more time we'll see more things grow. But it has certainly been a really fantastically varied album, and virtually every track has had a really clear identity of its own, which has made it nice as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes as the last song that we get to hear, and right before that loud big break towards the end. I'm assuming this is going to be a last bit of respite, something a little bit more chilled. That would be my guess, but I have no idea. In actuality, that's just what I'm assuming. That's based on nothing but my thought of where it stands in the playlist. So enough of me waffling about very, very lowly based ideas, and let's instead actually see what it sounds like and talk about it afterwards. So this is Catharsis. Yeah, still ain't got it. By BAND-MAID. Okay. Nice big anthemic sound. Let's see where this goes. I'm liking a lot of these fast and rhythmic vocals they've been doing of recent. Yeah, like I said, it sounds very anthemic. You immediately start swaying. I almost feel like I should be getting a lighter out at this point. I don't know why. Again, the second verse seems to be accented in a lot of these songs on this album by great little extra guitar works from Konami. Is it just me? It sounds like she's singing about Yogi Bear. It's a good chorus, but I keep on hearing Yogi Bear. That's cool. Is it going to build up? Oh, I love the rhythmic break here. That's fantastic. Very good. Brilliant. Really good that. I love the technique they have with the counted vocals in there. It's kind of like the group chanting counted thing. What effectively it does is it adds a sort of element of grandeur to it because it's countering the fact the song's barreling along very fast and yet it has this grand sound. And one of the things you can do is, as we sometimes talk about this, having two things that have a very countered speed to them. You know, like sometimes you have a song that has a very slow melody, but then you do a very fast beat underneath. Or in this case, you know, you can have something which has a very fast melody and do a slow beat to make it suddenly sound very funky. In this case, obviously everything's charging along. It's kind of like a hard rock song, you know, not quite punk, but very sort of fast-moving hard rock song. But it's got this grand sort of big sound just inherent to the way that it's written, to the little sort of twiddles that are being done by Konami. It all kind of has a slightly symphonic edge to it, and that sort of calm but counted vocal happening over the top kind of allows you to step back, and it allows you to feel like you can step back rather than just sort of barreling along. You can hear it in a slower sense, let it sort of pour over your ears. I'm starting to sound like the wine taster of music now, aren't I? So yes, it's got a slight whiff of broccoli. So what I like broccoli, by the way. Where are we going with this? I really like this song in a strange way. It's one of those ones that I usually talk about how catchy a song is, but when we're looking at something which is an album track, it's kind of a thing you kind of have to talk about just out of interest and for basic technical reasons. But you don't expect the album tracks to be the most catchy ones, and I certainly think this is an album track at heart, and suddenly they release it as a single. Unbeknownst to me, it's not obviously the catchiest, but that little Yogi Bear bit, that's kind of catchy, but it's a moderately catchy song. As I often say, their album tracks are usually unbelievably catchy compared to most other band album tracks that are usually not at all. So it's not a single level of catchiness, but once again, it's pretty catchy for an album track. What I liked though is I liked the whole sort of flow. The beat on it was really, really brilliant. Again, another one where the bridge came together fantastically for Akane. Really loved what she was doing there. That when it just broke down to that bit where you had that really suddenly swingy beat, and everything became much more loose. And also credit to Misa as well. Misa, at first I thought the bass had just stopped, and maybe it did in the first few bars of the bridge, but the bass just suddenly disappeared, which was it seemed later on I heard that it had gone to a higher register. Because of the way this was mixed and produced, it wasn't immediately clear whether it was there all the way through, but I'll check that again on repeat lesson, which I definitely will be giving this song. But I like the fact that the bass moved up as well, so suddenly like all of the sounds were in the higher region. It just meant that the lower region, the area with kick, was just down to the drums, which made everything sound that little bit more sparse and bouncy, which was great. There was fantastic work there with the way the bridge happened. The chorus was fun, relatively catchy, as like I say. Certainly something that you could bob along to very well. The song had a great energy. It wasn't so much riff based, but what it was you had a simple chord pattern, and a lot of the sounds were coming from the way that the lead guitar was harmonizing, just doing little da-da-da, da-da-da, like little flicks and things that just take what would otherwise just be strumming a chord pattern, junga, 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 and make it a little bit more interesting, make it sound a little bit more full without doing anything particularly complicated. Suddenly it sounds much more full and symphonic. I just really, really liked the idea of this song. I liked the way it worked. I like the fact that, okay, I know in most ways this is pretty much within their normal sort of style. I don't think it really breaks much away from what we've heard from them a million times before, but as seems to be one of their qualities, when they do the songs that they're more comfortable with, they are very good at giving them identity, and this one definitely has that, like I say, very much in the bridge, but also just in the fact that the riff is not so much present as it is down to the harmony of the lead, and like I say, having that fantastic sort of Yogi Bear chord chorus. So I must say, this is, for me, it's a really good one. It does point to the fact that the album ends on quite a heavy note. This started off very quiet and I like the intro, but overall this was quite a heavy song. Vocal performances, again, really good. All the performances on this album thus far have been pretty fantastic. So anyway, what's going to happen is I've really enjoyed this. I've enjoyed a lot of this album. I have good and some criticisms. We try to be completely honest. That's the whole point of this. No one just wants to, well, some people I guess do, but no one just wants to hear me say everything's fantastic, or what's the point in us doing this at all. What's going to happen is the next 2 tracks in the playlist, you can feel free to skip over them if you want, but they are the reviews I did before of Blooming and Renair, which I did quite recently when they came out. And then we're going to skip over that to the very final track in the playlist, which is the one I'll be releasing last of all. And that is the one where I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the album, because now we've heard the songs and the sort of reaction to each song in its context one at a time. We're going to be talking about how that comes together in an album, what the overall feeling is, what songs, maybe what songs there's too much of, what songs there's not enough of, what themes we appear over the entire course of the album, how well it all flows, what I think of the technical side, production, mixing and such like, and writing and performance. We're going to talk about all of that. But I must say that this is... I've not heard anything I've been particularly disappointed with. There's been, like I say, technical things, like with the way that the mixing or mastering happened on Dragon Cries, for example. There are some points which are maybe not 100% perfect, but I think this has been an album that considering how much I was looking forward to it and how much I set the bar high for this one, I think it's delivered in many, many ways. So I'm really looking forward to talking about why I think that is and going over the details with you guys in the final video in this playlist. So anyway, like I say, in case you haven't seen them, or just in case you want to see them again, Renair and Blooming, or Blooming and Renair, I should say, are going to follow this video in the playlist. So please click on that link and follow that if you're not already. But for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, get in the comments. Music is subjective. Your opinion is just as relevant as mine, but in the same way I try to justify my opinion, please try to justify yours as well, so that I can understand where you're coming from, whether you agree or disagree. But for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in, as I say, and ciao ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.